Now let's see what are the various steps in portfolio management. So when let's say you are trying to manage a portfolio of let's say one endowment plan or one defined benefit plan, okay, what are the things that you have to do to manage the portfolio? So there are like three major steps in portfolio management. What we have is we have divided into three steps. One is the planning step, execution step, and the feedback step. Okay, what is planning step? In the planning step you have to first you have to first know the client. Who is the client? Okay, what is his requirement? Okay, so one, you have to understand like the need of the client. You have to understand how much risk he is capable of taking. Okay, what are his return objective? We'll see like what is like typically you, when you, let's say you are planning your own portfolio, so you will have to think like what is your risk taking capability, how much return you want. Okay, so based on that, okay, you will decide, okay, this is my requirement, so you have to plan that. Okay, so what we have is in the planning step you understand the requirement, you understand the need of the client. Okay, once you have this, so typically for institutional investors you will be analyzing who are the beneficiaries, and then you will come up with the requirement. For the case of individual investors, you will have to have lots of discussion with the client to understand like what exactly he needs. Maybe like some people want to save for retirement, some people want to save for house, for marriage, all those things you have to get. Okay, once you have gathered all the thing, what you have to do is you have to create a investment policy statement. So investment policy statement, or in short it is called as IPS. So you have to prepare a investment policy statement for the client. Okay, so we will see that there is an importance, a huge importance of this investment policy statement. Okay, we'll see in the later readings like what is the use of this investment policy in statement. Okay, now what you have is the next step is the execution step. Okay, so once you have decided, once you have planned for the client, okay, next step is like you have to decide on like how you will be able to meet whatever is the client is wanting. So that is your execution step. In execution step what you have is, okay, how you will allocate the asset, like how much should be your equity, maybe 40% equity, 60% debt, or maybe 40% equity, 30% debt, 30% other funds. Like typically you have to find out how much asset allocation, what type of asset allocation will be done. Okay, now for this asset allocation you have to determine like okay, once you have done asset allocation, so you have debt, okay, you have equity, so this is a debt requirement, this is a equity requirement. Now what all the type of debt you will be investing, what are the type of equities you will be investing, so you have to do what is called a security analysis. So you have to think, okay, what let's say the stock TCS, whether it is good, whether Infosys stock is good or Tata Steel stock is good, so you have to do security analysis. So we will be covering the security analysis when we cover the equity part. Okay, so security analysis is like a determination of what type of securities you will be investing. Okay, now once you have determined what type of security you have to invest, you have to construct a portfolio. Like in the construction of portfolio you have to allocate like what is the weight of the TCS stock. So you have said that okay, equity you will invest 40%. Okay, now out of this 40%, how much would be invested in TCS, how much would be invested in Infosys. Okay, like that way you have to find out. Here what will happen is the Markovich portfolio theory and the Markovich framework will help you in understanding that how much weight would be coming in each of these asset classes. Okay, or sorry, in each of these securities and asset classes. Okay, now the last step that you have is the feedback step. So once you have constructed a portfolio, it is, your work is not over, right? So what will happen is you have constructed a portfolio, but you thought that the portfolio will give 10% return. What if the portfolio is giving 5% return only? Okay, if the portfolio is giving only 5% return, you have to understand that, okay, you have to understand why this return is coming lesser. Okay, so you have to monitor the portfolio continuously and you have to ensure that you are rebalancing the portfolio, and as a result you will be able to understand, okay, that okay, 5%, okay, it is bad, so maybe like we have to do things differently, we have to allocate differently. Okay, so what you have is you have to monitor the portfolio. Sometimes you want to get rid of some asset classes, sometimes you have to invest more in certain asset classes. Okay, so monitoring and rebalancing, we'll see this in the next particular reading. Okay, then you have performance measurement and reporting. Okay, what is performance measurement? That means over the past 1 year how much performance your portfolio has generated, so that you will give it to the client. So my portfolio has generated this, so you have to find out the performance, and also you have to report that performance to the client, because until unless you are reporting to the client, your client is not aware of how good or bad his portfolio is doing. So you have to ensure that your client is aware about this. So portfolio reporting is very important. So in fact all of these steps are important. Okay, so you have 3 steps: planning, execution, feedback. Planning, you will plan. Execution is you will execute, you will create a portfolio. Feedback is wherein you will monitor, you will see how the portfolio is doing, what changes has to be done to ensure that it is in aligning with the target. Okay, any question over here?